Sad news. Kai and Tan Songyun shocked by Wheesung's death. The full truth behind his last moments. Hello, K-drama Haven family. Today's story is one I never wanted to bring to you. It's not gossip. It's not a happy romantic update. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update in the world of your favorite celebrities. It's a tragedy. One that has sent shockwaves through the Korean entertainment industry, the music world, and directly into the hearts of two of our favorite stars, Kai and Tan Songyun. Today we uncover the heartbreaking truth behind the sudden death of legendary R&B singer Wheesung, and how this loss has left Kai and Tan Songyun reeling in grief. The breaking news that shattered the morning. It was just after sunrise in Seoul. The city was waking up, the streets slowly filling with commuters, coffee shops starting to hum. But somewhere in Gwangjin-gu, a quiet residential neighborhood, the day began very differently. A worried mother stood outside her son's apartment, knocking softly at first, then harder, her voice trembling. When there was no answer, she unlocked the door and stepped inside. She called out his name once. No reply. The lights were still dim. The air felt heavy. And there in the bedroom she found Choi Wheesung, unresponsive. Emergency services were called immediately. Paramedics rushed in, performing CPR, but it was too late. The 43-year-old singer, one of the most respected voices in Korean music history, was gone. The cause and the questions. The news spread quickly through police radio chatter, and within hours, it was on every Korean entertainment site. Authorities confirmed cardiac arrest, but details were scarce. There were no signs of foul play, no evidence of violence, no break-in. But they did find drug paraphernalia nearby, and investigators began to quietly suspect an overdose. This was especially heartbreaking because Wheesung had been open about his past struggles, including propofol abuse and 2 public overdoses back in 2020. He had worked hard to return to music to rebuild his life, and fans thought he was winning that battle. A legend's voice falls silent. For those who don't know, Wheesung wasn't just another singer. When he debuted in 2002 with Like a Movie, he completely reshaped what Korean R&B could be. His voice, deep, soulful, emotional, could pull you into a song until you forgot where you were. Over the years, he released hit after hit, collaborated with some of the biggest names in K-pop, mentored younger artists. To many, he wasn't just a performer. He was a bridge between old-school R&B and the modern Korean pop era. Kai and Tan Songyun's private shock. Here's where this story hits painfully close to home for Kai and Tan Songyun. Both stars were quietly preparing for a music-inspired film project, one that would have featured Wheesung not just as a composer, but also as an on-screen mentor figure. They had their first creative session scheduled for just next week. When Kai's manager stepped into his hotel room in Beijing with the news, he thought it was a bad rumor. But as soon as he saw the official confirmation from Wheesung's label, his face fell. According to a crew member present at the time, Kai sat in stunned silence for almost a full minute before whispering, "No, not him." Tan Songyun was on set for a commercial shoot when she was told. She broke character instantly, her cheerful expression collapsing into disbelief. She excused herself, stepped outside, and according to one stylist, simply stared at the sky for several minutes, as if waiting for it all to make sense. Fans around the world react. Social media exploded. On Weibo, Kai's fanbase began trending the hashtag Wheesung Forever and hashtag Stay Strong Kai. On Instagram, Tan Songyun's fans flooded her last post with messages of comfort, knowing how much she respected Wheesung's artistry. In Korea, tributes poured in from fellow musicians. He lifted every soul in the room when he sang. Verbal jint. There was never another voice like his. Never will be again. Yoon Min-soo. On Reddit, international fans remembered. I listened to him since the early 2000s. This feels like losing a part of my youth. A funeral in the rain. The funeral was held quietly in Seoul, just days later. It was a cold, overcast day, The kind of weather that makes the entire city feel muted. Kai and Tan Songyun were not in the public front row, but witnesses say they attended discreetly, wearing black and carrying white chrysanthemums, the Korean flower of condolence. One attendee told reporters that during the final song played, "Wheesung's with me," Kai lowered his head, and Tan Songyun placed a gentle hand on his arm. Neither spoke, but their grief was visible. The ongoing investigation. Authorities are still waiting on toxicology reports to confirm whether drugs played a role in Wheesung's death. Until then, his passing is officially listed as sudden cardiac arrest. Insiders believe this case will once again spark conversations in the Korean entertainment industry about mental health, addiction support, and how high the cost of fame can be. The legacy he leaves behind. For Kai and Tan Songyun, Wheesung's death is more than the loss of a collaborator. It's a reminder of the fragility of life, even for those who seem untouchable. They've already told their team they plan to dedicate part of their upcoming project to Wheesung's memory, and may even include one of his unreleased songs as a tribute. It began on what seemed like an ordinary Thursday morning in Seoul. The winter air was crisp, the streets waking slowly. Delivery scooters hummed down narrow lanes. Coffee shops began filling with customers, and the neon glow of late-night signs faded into the pale morning light. But inside a quiet apartment in Gwangjin-gu, the day would never truly begin. Wheesung's mother had been trying to reach him since the night before. At first, she told herself he was simply working late on music. He often lost track of time when writing. But as the hours stretched on without an answer, an unease began to grow in her chest. She stood at his door, knocked softly, then harder. She called his name, her voice trembling. No response. Finally, with a deep breath, she unlocked the door and stepped inside. The apartment was still, too still. She moved past shelves lined with trophies from his legendary career, framed photos of him with fellow artists, stacks of worn lyric notebooks filled with his unmistakable handwriting. When she reached his bedroom, the world seemed to stop. Her son Choi Wheesung lay motionless. The call for help was made instantly. Paramedics rushed in, their footsteps echoing through the hallway. They worked tirelessly, but the fight was already lost. After repeated attempts to revive him, they had no choice but to declare him gone. It was shortly after 7:30 a.m. when the official report was logged. Wheesung had passed away. The police statement was brief. No signs of forced entry. No visible injuries. Cause of death: sudden cardiac arrest. But as the hours went on, a darker detail emerged. Authorities confirmed that drug paraphernalia had been found nearby. The speculation began immediately. For years, Wheesung's struggle with substance abuse had been public. He had faced charges in the past and survived 2 overdoses in 2020 that left fans fearing the worst. And yet, in recent interviews, he had seemed determined to rebuild, speaking openly about therapy, self-reflection, and his plans for new music. That's why the shock was even greater. It felt as if he had been on the verge of a new chapter, only for the pages to be torn away. For Kai and Tan Songyun, this news was not just another headline. In recent months, both had been quietly preparing to work alongside Wheesung on a deeply personal cross-cultural film about music and healing. He had been chosen as the film's musical director, and was even set to appear in several key scenes as himself. It was a project meant to blend acting and music into something raw and beautiful. Now, in one morning, that vision shattered. Kai was in Beijing when the news reached him. His manager knocked on his hotel room door with an expression that told him something was wrong. At first, Kai assumed it was just another baseless rumor. The entertainment industry is no stranger to false alarms. But when he was handed the official press release, he froze. He read it once, then again, his eyes lingering on the words. A crew member later shared that he sat there in silence for a full minute before whispering, "No, not him," as if saying it quietly could undo the truth. Tan Songyun was on set for a commercial shoot. Cameras flashed, the director called for energy, and she smiled, delivering her lines with effortless charm. Then a crew member stepped forward and handed her a phone. She read the headline and the smile faded. Witnesses say she stepped outside, the wind tugging at her hair, and simply stood there, looking up at the sky. Her stylist later said, "She didn't cry immediately. She just kept staring, like she was trying to understand something she couldn't put into words." As the news spread, fans around the world began flooding social media with tributes. On Weibo, Kai's followers trended the hashtag #StayStrongSukai alongside hashtag #WeSungForever. On Instagram, Tan Songyun's last post became a quiet memorial, with thousands of comments offering love and support. In South Korea, fellow artists began posting their own memories, stories of Wheesung's kindness, his mentorship, and his unmatched talent. Singer Yoon Min-soo wrote, "His voice was pure emotion. There will never be another like him." Baek Ji-young shared, "He carried so much pain, but he gave so much love through his music." The funeral was held privately. The day was marked by rain, not a violent storm, but a gentle, constant rain that seemed to mirror the mood. Only family, close friends, and a handful of colleagues attended. Kai and Tan Songyun arrived separately, both dressed in simple black. They stayed at the back, avoiding attention. During the final song, "With Me," Kai bowed his head, eyes closed, while Tan Songyun reached out, her hand brushing his arm in silent comfort. In that small gesture, an entire conversation passed between them, one of shared grief, respect, and the knowledge that some losses can never truly be put into words. In the days that followed, questions continued to linger. The toxicology report has yet to be finalized, and while the official cause remains cardiac arrest, many are wondering what role, if any, his past struggles may have played. But beyond the circumstances, the conversation in the entertainment industry has shifted. Artists are speaking more openly about the relentless pressures they face, the importance of mental health support, and the need to look beyond the stage lights to see the person behind the performance. For Kai and Tan Songyun, this is more than just the loss of a collaborator. It is the loss of a friend, a mentor, and an artist they both admired deeply. Those close to them say they have already begun discussing ways to honor Wheesung in the film they had planned together. There is talk of dedicating the entire project to his memory, even rewriting scenes to reflect his influence. One of his unreleased songs may now serve as the closing track, his voice playing over the credits as a final gift to the world. And so, the story of Wheesung does not end here. His music lives on, in recordings, in memories, and in the countless people whose lives were touched by his art. Kai and Tan Songyun may be grieving quietly, but through their future work, they will ensure that his legacy is not forgotten. To the K-drama Haven family watching this, take a moment tonight to listen to one of Wheesung's songs. Let his voice fill the room. Let the emotion in his lyrics remind you that even in loss, we can carry forward the beauty someone leaves behind. Wheesung may be gone, but in every note, every melody, every fan who remembers him, he is still here. And if this story touched you, subscribe and share it so we can keep his memory alive together.